Jerry Enriquez, I walked into the Mocha's coffee shop one day and I said, Jerry, you know, my bucket list was to maybe have my own talk radio show someday. And he laughed me right out the door. And then that guy came back a few weeks later and said, are you serious? I would really kind of like to have some new programming. And I kind of got thinking about it, and here we are. Started in July. First show went up in July. And so I'm, you know, once a week. We've opened up now. This will come up Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m., but go on my website. Do you know my husband, George?
I do.
Kind of who he is.
You know what? Let me see here. I know him not very well, though.
Psychiatrist, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, one thing that helped me out is that people know him well enough that they can kind of spell Jerkovich, but if you go on my website, because you know, one thing about you guys up in Wichita, I was asking here, I'm not sure we broadcast very strong up there, but you can even send your people to the website, because we'll have, you know, Roger here on video, and we put it up that way too. So, and we're on iTunes.
Wow. So what is the website again? Joan Jerkovich?
It's JoanJerkovich.com.
.com. So all one word .com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Joan. Very good. No, you handle it very well. I've been on a lot of different shows, and it's not easy to do a good interview. So thank you so much for.
Oh well, I knew you would be a good guest, and so I was really trying to do my research. But I'm just so glad that we got across to the public that they are to do this under a doctor's supervision.
Well, here's my thought. Yeah, I'm glad. In one sense, I'm glad the FDA's attacking the homeopathics, because I'm concerned about those. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I think we need new ideas on how to deal with this. And it's not like this approach doesn't have a track record. It does, but it can get into the wrong hands. And so I think if it's done properly, it could, like with Roger, it's just worked. It's worked miracles for him. And I'm so pleased for Roger's sake, because he was really at the end of his rope. And this has really pulled him. I don't know if he told you, he did this fantastic show, Home on the Range. Have him tell you about that, because that was incredible, and that I feel good that, you know, that may have never have happened had he gotten sicker and sicker like he was. So.
Well, he had kind of lost life. You know,
exactly.
He couldn't even sing, his livelihood and such. So, yeah, we were talking and getting to know him here in the studio. And I'm just glad, too, because I have always kind of had this sense that the medical community have in some ways let down these very people that are looking for something to help them with this problem. They've had many of them for a lifetime, even as Roger said. And bariatric surgery, to be honest, is frightening to me.
Yeah.
And I've also known people who've relapsed on that, believe it or not. However they find a way to get those calories in there, they're
interestingly
gaining
enough,
weight.
the people who have successful bariatric surgery are the ones that have a really good lifestyle coach afterwards, and they actually go through it kind of like forces them to go through the lifestyle changes. And if they don't, then they relapse.
Mm-hmm. Well, we better let you get back to work,
Thank
and
you,
thanks so much again.
See you, Doc.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Roger.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, Well, I thought that was a nice compliment from him. We can take these off now, because we're just going to do what we did and only need them when we have them.
Making me hot.
I know. This whole room feels warm. But we're going to finish up with and that'll feel real quick, but that was so good, with 8 minutes, right, Paul?
Yeah,
And
actually gonna turn this on so I can hear you.
yeah, you do, but we don't. And we'll go back to a final segment, and I want to... What do you want to talk about, Roger? Because it's going to go fast. I want to talk about how you've done some lifestyle changes.
Well, one of the things that is a handicap for me is my family runs a bed and breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
And I do the cooking. I'm a good cook.
Oh, yeah.
Never
right.
trust a skinny cook.
Yeah, no, I know.
And when I'm on the program,
I never understood
making,
why Food Network hired those skinny chicks.
Yeah.
I'm like, get them out of here. They don't even taste a bite. They probably suck on it and spit it out or something.
When
I don't know.
when I'm on the program and I'm making these fantastic breakfasts and I can't eat them, psychologically that is really difficult.
I could see that. Let's talk some about that, because that's such a big issue, because it sounded like even Dr. Ron was able to say people get excited, they lose so quickly, but There's that big butt.
Then that big
Are we
butt.
going to hold that, keep it off, and all that kind of thing? There's that big butt, like Pee Wee Herman said. There's always somebody has a big butt. Do you remember that from his movie? We're still on video, so this goes up, so we can get a little silly once in a while. Okay, Paul, we're back, right?
All right, you started.
All right. Welcome back, listeners. This is Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show on 910 KINA. We're back wrapping up our conversation. We had Dr. Ron Hunninghake from the Reardon Clinic in Wichita talking to us about his medically supervised HCG diet. But we're going to finish up here with someone who's actually done this. To me, there's nobody to talk about a diet like someone who's done it and done it successfully. So we're back here with Roger. And the first question I want to jump into, Roger, is lifestyle. Dr. Ron talked about how people lose weight so fast on this diet, they get so excited. But maintenance, talk to us about how you're living the diet.
Well, when you start back on maintenance, you still restrict your carbohydrates, your sugar and your carbohydrates for the first week, and you reintroduce carbohydrates very slowly. And
are you still on a real restricted calories at this time?
No.
You're not counting the 500 to 750.
No, I'm not counting. I'm not on the 500. Really, you go back to about an 1800 to 2500, but you consciously try to keep the fruits, vegetables, the balance back in it, and it's very easy to relapse. I'm living proof of that. I've been bouncing up and down all my life, and stress is your number one way that you end up dealing with stress is to stuff things in your mouth, and
it's been a lifelong habit.
It's been a lifelong habit, and it's hard to get away from that. And
so tell us, when you lost your most, how much did you gain back? Because you're going to start another round Christmas Day.
The first time that I lost a lot of weight, I got back down to 227 pounds.
And that was how much from your high?
For my high at that time was right around 450 in the neighborhood.
Wow.
As 190 pounds, just add 190 pounds to that. And this time I had gotten to 485 pounds. And was just at the end of my will to even stick around.
Exactly.
And
you were giving up on life.
I gave up on everything.
Yes. Well, depression was one of the factors Dr. Ron said is part of the metabolic syndrome.
Yeah. And the thing is, the sugar and the carbohydrates contributes to that. And besides, when you start going the other way, and weight has a tendency to creep up on you, and you'll go try a new program, you'll lose 20, 30 pounds, and then you'll end up over the long run gaining 50. You always add another 10 or 20 pounds, and over a long period of time, all of a sudden you figure out that you can't buy clothes in a store anymore, and that's one of my goals. I'm getting close to being able, and I'm actually buying a few things off the rack and not having to use the specialty catalogs. And for some reason, with the increase of people's body weight, the retailers are totally ignoring this. And I've had lots of go-arounds with store owners and managers. I says, look at the evidence. If you have your large sizes going off the shelf, there's a reason for it.
Right.
And you should be looking at that clientele. And but it's so nice to get back to where I can start actually going into a store and actually buy something that can fit me.
So, you've had a little bit of relapse with this program you started last Christmas, because you're starting back on again this year, Christmas. Yeah. But you must be a great believer in this program.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to go back to it.
I'm going back. You look forward to going back onto the program. After a while of eating freely, basically, I never don't have any desire to do fast food. It's just not. I like good food, and so I'm not a
But sometimes
fast
we
food
like good
addict,
food
but-
and a lot of it.
And lots of it.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a time in my life when I would eat a 28-ounce porterhouse or a 32-ounce steak. And
Oh, I grew up on a farm family.
yeah.
Tell me about it. They,
Yeah.
they called our steaks roasts.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'd have one on each plate.
yeah, my
So-
steaks a family of four could live on. You know.
I know, it's horrible, and I love that. I could never be a vegetarian. Not that
I don't understand vegetarians. We have had a few
do
at our bed and
understand
breakfast.
them, but I couldn't do it.
They're strange people.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm going to get blasted for this for sure.
They come to our bed and breakfast, and we were sitting in the biggest cow-calf production area of the state of Kansas in Barber
absolutely.
County. I said, now, we raise and we eat beef. Mm-hmm. And I will
It's
do
who
my
we
best. I will do my best. We had one that's basically existed on garbanzo beans. I never understood that at all. But
And some of them can have their own weight issues. Let's
some of
get
them
real
can,
here.
yes.
Some of them,
Yeah.
too many cookies and bottles of beer.
but a lot of them look
That's
like they just had a
vegetarian.
hookworm treatment.
Oh, that's true too. That's true. So you were talking about that a little bit, because I think, you're going back into it. How are you gonna maybe try this time to prevent relapse? What are you gonna pull out of the program to do that?
I'm going to start getting closer to my ultimate goal
Okay.
of 200 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I was hoping to be there by the time I went to the WMA in Albuquerque in November, and it just didn't happen. It was asking way too much. That you could lose it too fast. But my goal is to go back to Albuquerque for the festival next year, at my goal of 200 pounds down and my fighting weight,
And you see yourself as being able to hold that this round.
yes.
Okay, great. Well, I think we've kind of come to a point where, we're encouraged. We want to follow your loss. We want to follow your story. So maybe I'll be able to blog, or you'll keep in touch with us and tell us how you go. So how many months is it going to be, do you think? Starting here the 25th of December, is it going to take you to hit that goal?
I hope to hit that goal by next fall.
Next fall.
Yeah.
And that's fast. I mean, that's moving
That's-
fast.
the longer
That's at
you're-
1 to 2 pounds almost.
Yeah, the longer you're on the program, you've got to stretch out the time between, the maintenance time between. When you start out at 40 days between rounds, you go on it long term. You've got to stay off of it longer. This time I have them about 2 to 3 months between.
No, but this will just be your second time to go. Your second round?
No, this will be my 5th round.
Oh, okay. Because I have heard of people coming back to it and making different rounds with it. But each time you've lost and kept a good portion off?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that says enough right there that you haven't rebounded plus.
Yeah. I've given one set of clothes away to the hospice Goodwill store, and I've got another set that I'm about ready to drop it off at them. And
well, there we go.
I'm starting to get back to this vest I wore at Cowtown in 1995 when I was an interpreter there.
Wow, 95. So we've got a message of hope, like Dr. Hunninghake said. People get despondent over this. I think you've left us, and we're going to have to wrap it up here with a message, Roger, of hope.
Yeah.
And, even of altruism, where you're going to give your big clothes away.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm a bachelor, so I'm looking for a singing cowgirl. So
there
if
you
any
go.
single
Listen,
singing
hey,
cowgirls
everybody,
out
go
there,
up on video, because when he walked in my office this morning with his cowboy hat on, I was impressed. So I want all you ladies that are looking to get up on the video and check this guy out. He's even single. Wow, we've got a full story here today. It goes all gamuts, from weight loss to giving away at the holidays, and also to getting in a new dating relationship. All of those things are part of weight loss, though. So we're going to have to.
It's called living.
It's called life and getting back to living. What a great thing to end on, Roger. Thanks again so much for coming to talk to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And all of you have been listening to Joan on the Joan Jerkovich Show. And be sure again, especially all you single ladies out there, go watch the video outtakes at joanjerkovich.com. And there you can also get links to our iTunes and our blogs. And thanks so much for joining us today for innovative talk radio that surprises, entertains, and sometimes even informs you. The Joan Jerkovich Show, 9 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays at 910 KINA Salina. I got in kind of a funny mood there. We were starting to have a little too much fun. And then I get laughing, and I kind of think, what are we going to talk about next? But that was